could go further and deep into how to invest and stuff. I tried this like 3-4 years ago, and I was just like, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the dopest podcast ever, the Dope Life Podcast. And of course, I am your host, Coach AJ, the dopest life coach ever. And welcome. So today's episode, we are talking a little bit entrepreneurial activities and stuff that I've learned throughout the last, I'll say, like 3 years. I just hit my 3-year anniversary of my business kind of popping off. I just hit my 1-year anniversary of this podcast about a week and a half ago. So I figured if anybody needed to know anything in terms of how to build their business, it's a great time for me to kind of give you little things that I've learned. But also I'm going to be giving little financial gems as well. Just because I've gained all the knowledge, I just want to give it back. And that's the whole point of this podcast. You know, the things that I learned, I want to give back to people, and I'm heavy on that. So, but before I want to get into it, thank you again for obviously joining another podcast. I just want to start off with one thing. It's been hitting me a lot, primarily to talk about like how you got to be careful with what you take in, is just as a human being and also as an entrepreneur, because you know we feed off of social media. Is a beautiful, powerful thing. At the same time, it could be a nightmare. Just like the internet is a great tool, but we could use it in the wrong context, right? As many of us probably know, Jamie Foxx has been in the hospital for a while. So that's what we supposedly thought. And his daughter posted saying like, yo, my pops went home for weeks. He's chilling. We got new things popping now. And the reason why I'm talking about this is I talk about mental diet. And if you've been rocking with me the last 3 seasons, you've probably heard me repeat it many times. And the importance of mental diet, of what we choose to take in, what content we choose to watch, what content we choose to listen to, what we choose to engage to. Many people were scared because blogs were posting, you know, pray for Jamie, they're fearing the worst, yada, 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 yada. So people are like in that fear of we could lose another great comedian or another great actor or just another great human, period, right? Turns out the man's been home for weeks, weeks, and his daughter confirmed dead. And this is why I'm just saying you got to be very cautious and careful of the things you take in. Now, obviously, something like that is inevitable. Like, you may just pop up on your screen. But I'm just saying, don't believe everything that you see. Don't believe all the hype. Because some people posting some fucked up shit. If you follow people that, like myself, a life coach, or other people that post, like, positive content to improve and enhance your life, by all means, like, I get that. And I get it. Sometimes you want to look at drama and all that good stuff. But I'm just saying, in general, you got to be super careful because some people be putting out some fucked up shit. Let's just keep it a buck. But anyways, I firmly believe that like we gotta just vet out certain things and be very cautious with what we take in and so on and so forth. But let's get into today's episode. I'm excited about today's episode because this is something that's very near to my heart. But I really wanted to start off with like the financial aspect of it and how you can generate yourself some money. So right now, and I'm big on that. Right now, they're talking about recessions are happening and we're in the midst of it. And, you know, people are telling you this, and that. So here's a couple of things that I've learned. If you grab a piece of paper, save this podcast for you to listen later, share with your friends, whatever you got to do. Here's a couple of things that I've learned throughout the last year, couple of months, 3 years as well. If you have money invested in a bank, a brokerage, however you have it invested, always every maybe like 6 months, I would say 6 months, go back and look at, you know, how it's doing. You know, pay attention to those things. Unless you're doing day trading, that is it's a little different. I try day trading. It's not my thing. I don't have time for it. But if you're investing into like ETFs and things like that, and you're like, oh man, like I wonder how it's doing, you can check every 3 to 6 months. If you have money locked in with your bank or whatever the case may possibly be, the best thing I could suggest you do is like listen to the news. All right. So for example, when I realized that, you know, interest rates on credit cards, you know, stuff like that have gone up, you know, loans, whatever the case, I knew I'm in debt. I'll admit to that. I knew I had to start paying down my debt even faster. So I started implementing that in my budget just a little bit more. Then I called the bank and I said, hey, I'm just curious, like, what investment options do you have right now that would be best for me? This is what I'm saying. Call them, make appointments, do what you got to do. He put me in the right direction where I needed to be because he said the interest rate, even though that it's gone up through the bank, it could benefit you in the end. And I was looking at him cockeyed, like, what the hell are you talking about? because although the interest rate has gone up on one angle, there's still other angles that it could benefit you with your money. And I know a lot of people are not telling you these things because, yeah, they don't want you to know. And you got to do the homework. And this is why I did my homework. And now I'm just sharing it with you. So if you have any money invested at all, this is a good time to go back, call your bank, make appointments with your financial advisor, whatever it is, your brokerage, whatever you use, call them up, make these appointments, and start looking into ways that you can put your money to invest right at this moment. Because this is a crucial time. We don't know how long this stuff's going to take. We don't know how we going to be. Everyone's kind of like scared. And, you know, it's difficult to say like how everything's going to be. But you know what? Like if you take a moment to just kind of look into ways of investing your money, it could benefit you in the outside of this at all. Now, I know people are probably like, well, like, coach, like, how the hell am I supposed to invest money this day and age? I'm going to tell you something I learned from my mother. My mother is a mother of 3 kids, okay? Like, her and my dad bought this house back in the early 90s. They now own it. Thank you, Jesus. And there was times where my parents were struggling. I didn't know it as a kid. They didn't allow us to know it as children, but they were struggling. We got older. They let us know. You're like, yeah, it was a little hairy there. You know what I'm saying? My mother always taught me that if you put a little bit in the pot, not my mom's voice kind of coming out a little bit. If you put a little bit in the pot, then, you know, it builds up. So my mother used to put in a little $20, local $25 a month. And, you know, she kind of, or a week, sorry, increased here, increased there, whatever. Mind you, she's raising children, young children at that. And I learned from her that if you do that at a young age, but even if you do it at any age and you put a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, it builds. But if you put it, especially, this is why I like calling, going to appointments, talking to people about money, having these conversations is so important, because she would go to the bank every now and then and ask, hey, look, what's the best way I can invest my money? You know, I have this account with X amount. I keep putting this in there. Just curious, what's the best way? And they would move her money around throughout the years. Like, that's literally it. But now it's gotten so much better that we have a better opportunity. I know you're probably thinking like, okay, like, look at the economy, I hear you. But think about it, if you put even just $10 away, 15. I'll give you an example. I have a fund specifically for my car. Specifically. Every week I put in $12.50. Now you're probably like, Erling, that's nothing. Yes. But every time I gotta do an oil change, or if something happens to my car and I need an extra couple hundred to pay out of it, I got a couple hundred to pay. I didn't have to like come and just use like a card to pay for my oil changes and shit in almost like 2 years, because of me putting the $12.50 every week, which is just $12.50, which I look at it as like, okay, that's like coffee for a week or some shit. But now I make my coffee at home. I am able to just not worry about it. Tire changes, whatever the fuck I need. Boom, it's there. And I allocate it for everything. Entertainment money. I allocate the entertainment money. Okay, I'm going to go out. And I look at it. All right, this month, it's going to be, I apologize. That's my baby texting me. And I look at it like, okay, I'm going to need this. I'm going to need that. I got college coming up. I got this coming up. I look at these things and I'm like, all right, I got to allocate money for it. I mean, I got to rejig budget. Like, we got to start using these things. Like, I know it is difficult as fuck to live in the world that we are in, but I always think about my immigrant parents and how they struggled. And I know they had a little bit more opportunity, you're probably going to say, but at the same time, if I could do it, they could do it. If they could do it, I could do it. So it's just a matter of like, you know, your mindset to it. Now, if you're going to invest, look into products you see often. So ETFs are amazing. If you live in Canada, Wealthsimple's a good personal online a program you can use. Super simple. If you live in the United States, I believe people have been talking about Fidelity. I think we have it here in Canada. I can't quite remember. But I do know that it is available in the States, but we have Wealthsimple here. Wealthsimple's a great tool. And look into the stuff you use often. So I'm going to give you an example. This thing right here with the app. That's almost it. How many people right now that are watching or listening to my podcast right this very moment are using that device? If not, you're using a Samsung or some other brand, right? these big brands, if you invest into ETFs, the cool thing about ETFs, I'll break it down to you. So the cool thing about ETFs is if they take a small percentage of these companies. So if I wanted to buy a full stock of Apple, it's going to cost me a grip. So what I did was I invested into ETFs, and it'll take like a small percentage, like I say, 10% of that, of the cost. So instead of me spending whatever it was, it may cost me like $30-$40, depending on how many shares that I buy, which mine is a managed portfolio, which means that somebody else is taking care of it. I'm not. I just got to keep a look and just kind of take a look and say, okay, I don't want to do that. Let's lower the risk, whatever the case. Let's increase the risk, whatever the case. That's how I get my return back. So I looked into funds. I looked into like index funds. I looked into like Apple. I looked into Tesla, those type of companies to kind of get my kickback, and it works. You just got to do a little research, but these apps are seamlessly easy, and they are totally worth it. Okay, so you're probably wondering, like, how do I know all this information? And I'm just gonna keep it a buck and simple. It's just I've been educating myself, like I said earlier, but I've been educating myself on the matter as far as I wanted to. Yeah, I mean that by like a big emphasis on that, because you could go further and deep into how to invest and stuff. I tried this like 3-4 years ago, and I was just like, so I found a way that works for me. And I think that's important, finding a way that you can invest the money or invest anything that you want to invest into in terms of, like financial, that works specifically for you. Not that it works for everybody else, because day trading, I'll be honest with you, day trading, it's not for everybody. Not for me, but it may be for you. So it's more finding things that work specifically for you and how much further you want to learn. So I read books like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, great read. I repeatedly read it. It's an amazing quick read. And I also attend webinars, listen to podcasts, like Earn Your Leisure podcast. Oof, great one to learn. And they also have Market Mondays. That's also with those guys. And they talk about the market, the money, where to invest in, so on and so forth. And like investing your time, the free time you have, into these things so that it can benefit you in the end. I mean, all we try to do is just, I ain't gonna lie, I'm trying to build money for my future, for my family, for my future, for the generation going onward. And it starts with making little investments like this. And here's another gem that I really want to drop that I know that my Black people, sometimes don't really think big on. And I need people to really understand. This is how a lot of other cultures been able to build wealth. Life insurance. I know you're probably like, why I ain't gonna buy no life insurance? Let me tell you something. You buy life, if you were young, if anyone listening to this right now is in their 20s, younger 20s, buy life insurance now. It is cheaper now for you to purchase it now versus for you when you purchase it later. And many people that are older, the elders, like my parents' age, they will stop paying it. And I know I've heard this so many times where people stop paying their life insurance policy. And then when they're in their 50s and 60s, they want to grab it. And not many companies are giving it to them, or they're giving it to them, but it's costing them like a couple $100 a month. Okay? I go tell you how much I pay for my life insurance, but it costs nothing. It's nothing. It's not much at all. And I got it when I was 22 years old. And the reason why, I'm going to give you the reason why I bought it, because I've heard stuff like, you don't need life insurance until you get married, which I think is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. The reason why I got life insurance is because I started driving. I started driving my car, and I said to myself, there ain't no way that I'm going to leave anything. God forbid anything were to happen. Car accidents they happen. They're accidents, right? And there was no way that I was going to leave anything with my family to deal with. So I was like, I'm going to take the responsibility on my own to make sure that everything is taken care of on my behalf. And that's just how it was. That's just what it was. Now, obviously, it's gotten different the older I've gotten. More responsibilities, people in my life, such as and so forth. But I'm telling you, Black people, listen to me. Life insurance is the reason why a lot of the people that you were like, how did they got this money, generational, blah, 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 how did they come from money? It's just inheritance. It's fucking inheritance. And then they take that same inheritance and they invest it into the shit that I was telling you, if not more. So, and at the same time, if you live in the States, I don't know if it works so much in Canada, it's a bit different. But if you live in the States, if you get life insurance, you could actually use that and invest it in other ways. You could take the money out. I've done research on it. You could pull the money out and you could invest in the things that you want to invest into. Canada's a bit different. I've been looking into it. It's not as easy. But in the States, I've been told it's a lot more simpler task to do it. So I'm going to say this from the root to the tooth. Okay. People of color, please, I'm begging you, get some life insurance. Get you some life insurance, especially if you're young. It will cost you next to nothing. Like absolutely positively next to nothing. All right. So this part, I really wanted to tap into mindset. Hugely on mindset when it comes towards business and how you look at not just events, but how you look at environmental situations. Okay. So if you live in my city, August time roll around, we have what? Caravana, right? We have Caravana. Now, there's two sides to this. The main side, where everybody goes to Caravana for, is to catch a local bubble, have full legend, go to a fete, good fucking vibes. But I want you to take a second and realize how many people come, big names, come to Caravana. Okay? It's always like, you'll see headlines, someone's just going to be at this event, such as going to be at that event. You know what I'm saying? You always hear about it. But do we really know how much business is being had at these events? If you have something going on and you're at that capacity where you could have seats with these heavy hitters, start looking at these events, not just for getting, having the time of your life and not bubble and not thing and whatever. Start looking at these events as a business opportunity. If you're a real estate agent, if you're a mortgage broker, if you have a bag of businesses, a product. Let's say you have a certain food that you want to put in a certain market. You need to start figuring out how to get your foot in the door to meet these people. And I'm not even talking about meeting with the LeBron. I'm not even talking about, meeting with the Shaqs, because these people come, right? Ludacris comes. He loves coming, right? I'm not talking about meeting with them. I'm talking about meeting with their team. We don't need to know about them. We know who they are. We could fucking Google them if we want. We know their music. We know their movies. We know they play sports, whatever the case. We don't need so much to get information from them. You need to get the information from their people. And you're probably thinking, AJ, like, how the hell am I going to pull this off? Think about all the people underneath them that pulled it off. This is when mindset comes in. You need to stop thinking that you are not capable of doing the things that is aligned for you. We need to stop thinking that way. We need to start looking at events. We need to start looking at webinars. We need to start looking at everything as a way to network. If you are an entrepreneur, no matter where you are in your life, if you are at that point where you're like, okay, I think I'm ready to start meeting people. And humble yourself. If you're not, that's cool. I am not quite there. And I can honestly say this. I'm just saying this based upon what I've read, and I keep seeing it, I keep hearing it, and I know that is in the direction I need to get to. Not a problem. But if you know that you got a product, you got a service, and you just need to meet with the right people, that's all you need to do. Well, you got to start positioning yourself with them. Like I said, we don't need to meet so much the Diddy's of the world. We don't need to be so much of the Shaqs, the LeBrons. We don't need them. We need the people that work underneath them. I want that agent that LeBron, his boy, that LeBron is signed to. That guy, I want to talk to him. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk to Shaq's business partner. Now, Shaq's a different story because Shaq is a businessman. So even LeBron is too. I would fuck with him. But if you were to talk to them, they're going to say, yeah, talk to my boy. He'll hook you up. Majority of these people will tell you, talk to my boy. So the next time you go to these events, if you want to go to Bubble, I get it. Now, I'm not knocking you. But if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a business person, I need you to start switching your mind to saying like, coach, I don't think that's... No, it is in your realm. It is, if you're thinking about it a little bit, it is in your trajectory. And I'm just naming some names, but there's bigger names out there that you could all fuck with within your city that will help you get to where you want to be, that will put you in the right direction of the people that you need to be talking to. There are bigger people out there, and they just live in the cut. They just living in the cut. But you don't need to worry about the celebrity people. You need to worry about the people that you're supposed to be connecting with. Those people are the ones that you should be fucking with. And we know when honest to God, you know what it starts with. And I know you're going to be like, coach, I ain't doing that. Leave your house. Get out go outside, start talking to people, start mingling, going to webinars, going to spaces that you know that you are going to benefit. Big businesses, start with small businesses, start with big businesses. Everyone wants to build people up. This is why I go back to saying that there's enough at the table for everybody. There's enough that everyone can eat. Think about when you go to a buffet. What happens when one pan of food is done? They bring on another one. There's enough for everybody to partake in. And you need to start looking at your business as not just, it's just yours. Yes, it is yours. Not knocking that. But you need to start looking at your business that there's enough for everybody to eat. And there's people who want to give you a plate. So let's not look at the fact that businesses are, you building your business and it's just you. No, forget all that. Fuck all that. There is enough at the table for everybody. Selfishness will not get you far. And that's why it's a give and take. It's kind of like take what they call take a penny, leave a penny type of thing. That's what it's about. Now, I hope that this episode helps you out. Even if you don't have a business, even if you just want to invest, whatever the case is, I truly hope that this episode helped you out. I've been wanting to make this for a while. Just to kind of like give the stuff I've learned over the last couple of years and how it's benefited me and my business. Also just me and my personal life in terms of financial. Before I forget, if you have any debt right now, like myself, pay that down as much as you can because interest rates in the bank are constantly increasing. And I think that's just worldwide because, they're anticipating the recession coming in. We're in it right now. And, that's just how they're saying it. Personally, I think we've never left recession from that very last one in early, I think it was 2000 and I don't remember. I was in high school, I think. I personally feel like we've never really built back from that a bit, but we did a bit, but not fully. But that's just a matter of opinion. But yeah, definitely save this episode, share this episode. I hope that this helped you out. I hope it helped out many, 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 many others. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email at info@dopelifecoach.com. Again, that's info@dopelifecoach.com. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button for you. Also, like I said, share this episode. If you have any comments, I'm just curious, what did you think about this episode? Was this episode beneficial for you? Did it benefit you in any type of way? What other discussions would you like me to have on topics of entrepreneurship, mental health, mindset, and financial? Let's see if this is something that we can continue to discuss. Because again, it's Dope Life Podcast, and we're going to be talking about everything dope, including because money it's connected to our mental health as well. So yeah, if you, because yeah, it is mental health as much as we may not think it. So if you have any questions, please, shoot me a DM, follow me on Instagram at the Dope Life Pod. I'm gonna link it in the below in the description. And yeah, let's have this discussion. I'm curious how you guys felt about this episode, and if there's anything I missed out, if we want to add. And with that being said, I'm again your host, Coach AJ, and I want you to walk with what? Peace and love.